a few people listened to you in New Hampshire and said you were the candidate that understood boys' issues better than any other candidate.
We're ignoring what strikes me as a real crisis.
So that was Andrew Yang being interviewed by Warren Farrell. I can link to the full interview. It's only around 2 minutes long, so I might just show the whole interview in this video. I haven't decided yet. But I want to talk about how Andrew Yang is a good candidate for men's rights.
Our culture is ignoring the fact that we have so many young men in particular who feel like they're getting pushed to the sidelines in school. Schools aren't designed for them, and then they get in the workforce, that the workforce doesn't have a place for them. And then for whatever reason, it's all being blamed on the individual, when really we have a systemic transformation of our economy.
Before I get into that, let me just explain who Warren Farrell is. Back in the 1970s, the early 70s, he was actually on the New York City National Organization of Women. So he was like probably one of the top ranking feminists in history. Top ranking male feminists, that is. But what happened is he you could say he became red-pilled, but basically he realized that feminism was more just to help women than to really fight for equality. One of the big turning points, which actually relates to this interview, is that he saw feminists pushing for sole custody of divorce. Is sole child custody, which would mean that mothers would get full custody, which is pretty much what is going on now.
I did 14 years of research on this and looking at the various causes, and one of the things I found to be the prime cause is dad deprivation, where boys do not have dads.
Most of the time, mothers get full custody of the child, or maybe the father gets like one weekend a month or something like that. And he's like, well, that hurts the child. That's pointless.
And schools that don't really meet the needs of a lot of boys in particular, because they emphasize conformity and rigidity. Mm-hmm. And at that age, like a lot of boys, aren't really well designed for that in the same way that young girls are, frankly. And so we need to start addressing these issues from the ground up.
So that was part of what caused him to break away from feminism. And he wrote a book called The Myth of Male Power, which is really good. I'd highly recommend you reading that. You can also get the audiobook if you're too lazy to read. But a few months ago, I did a video on my new channel, which I can link to, when Andrew Yang, he spoke out against circumcision. For those who don't know, circumcision is a men's rights issue because, female circumcision is basically outlawed, and there's a number of reasons why. I won't go into all the details about circumcision and men's rights. Should be able to find some good videos on YouTube, but basically, the boy is traumatized, and you can argue that he forgets about it later in life, but it's hard to say for sure. The other thing is there's risks of injury with circumcision, and the health benefits are debatable. It hasn't really been proven to be as beneficial as advocates for circumcision are claiming. And the other thing is it decreases male sexual pleasure, which means that it could lead to erectile dysfunction. So I'm guessing that the US has higher rates of erectile dysfunction than other countries that don't do circumcision routinely. So that's one thing. Another thing is what prompted me to do this video is the interview he did with Warren Farrell, and also he has a son with autism, I think. So he's really cares about special needs and boys who needs special needs, and just boys in general. And the other thing with the universal basic income, UBI, that I think is going to benefit men more than women.
To me, it's beyond our schools at this point, because there's so many young men. Almost 1 out of 5 prime working age American men is out of the workforce.
Yes.
And again, it all gets laid at their feet like it's all their fault. But in my mind, it's structural.
Yes.
And it's giving rise to all of these dysfunctions in families, in communities. There are a lot of men that feel like they're not going to ever get married, have a family, have a stable career, and everything else. And for whatever reason, we're ignoring what strikes me as a real crisis.
Because women are going to be provided for regardless. They're going to be getting money from the government. B, they're going to be benefiting from affirmative action, diversity hirings. Because those tend to benefit white women more than like men of color. The diversity hirings or affirmative action. And then 75% of homeless are men. 90% of unsheltered homeless are men. So men really need the safety net more than women, because women are going to be provided for. Even if a woman is homeless, there's homeless shelters specifically just for women and charities for women. There's also child support, which, I mean, I think should be outlawed, personally. I'm okay with the government giving benefits to parents, although custody should be split 50-50, because 99% of the time, the father isn't any less suited. People always like trot out like the abuse rates and say like the father's abusive, but studies have actually shown that women are more abusive to children than men. Women are also more abusive to boys specifically, but just in general, women are more abusive.
Well, so I have 2 young boys myself.
But even if it was 50-50, the vast majority of parents aren't abusive, so custody should be split 50-50.
40% of kids are born to single parents today, and in 90% of those cases, it's a single mom.
I really got to
So if you're a single boy, if you're a little boy growing up with a single mom, your mom's generally working, you don't have enough time, and then you don't have strong male role models, and it's like a cascading effect.
You're absolutely right.
Thank you.
You really get it. Thank you.
So I'm not going to say for sure Andrew Yang is the best candidate for men's rights. It's really hard to know. But he has done a number of things that have seemed like steps in the right direction. And honestly, partially, the main reason I'm supporting Andrew Yang is because of universal basic income. Automation is going to claim estimated tens of millions of jobs. And again, this is going to hurt men more than women, because even though there are white-collar jobs like translation that are being replaced with automation, women have more of a safety net than men, and men are expected to support women financially, like in terms of marriages. So with the issue of automation, it's also a men's rights issue. And I think the majority of automated work probably is going to be blue-collar work. I don't know for sure, but my guess is it's going to affect men more than women. Although it's also like with fast food, I know now they have like McDonald's, you can go in and just use an automated menu to place your order. So it is like affecting a wide variety of jobs. And like I said, translation is being affected by that. But yeah, there's like also just like a lot of blue collar jobs, truck drivers. Surprisingly, you wouldn't think truck driving would be replaced by automation, but yeah. So I think I'm going to end the video here. Or I might do is I might show the rest of the Andrew Yang video at the end of this, but I'll still link to the full interview just so you see that I didn't cut anything out if I do show the whole thing. But anyway, so be sure to check out my new channel. And just to warn you, with my new channel, I'm transgender, so I'm doing those videos in a female voice. I was going to do these videos in a female voice on this channel once I finish my voice lessons, but I've had some issues getting transportation for the voice lessons because I'm disabled and I can't drive. So I don't know what I'm going to do with this channel, but I did want to put out this video about Andrew Yang, and just check out my new channel. I do talk about like men's issues more than just politics in general. I haven't really decided I haven't decided like how much more I'm going to do with this channel. I'm doing it partially just to tell people about my new channel, and I mean also just like if I do want to talk about politics, I think the people on the other channel aren't going to want to hear about politics as much. So at least from like a left-right perspective, because a lot of people in the manosphere are right-leaning. So I might do more videos on this channel. I haven't decided yet, but yeah, definitely check out the new channel. And thanks for watching, guys.